Well, welcome back. New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer was at the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism, along with a panel discussing current issues existing in our city. Our BronxNet reporter, Arlene Makoko, brings us a story.
New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer was the scheduled guest at the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism's Newsmakers series, organized by the Center for Community and Ethnic Media. Joined by the school's Director of Urban Reporting, New York One News' Errol Lewis, June Lee from the Korean Daily, and David Cruz from Norwood News. The timing is just one day after President Trump signed two executive orders, one to build a border wall with Mexico, and the second to take away federal funding from sanctuary cities like New York and Los Angeles if they refuse to comply with immigration officials. Stringer opened up with comments he made at a rally in a Muslim community the evening before.
I have to tell you something. It was one of a sort of a proud moment for me when I could get up in front of thousands of people and talk not just as city controller to our Muslim brothers and sisters, but to simply say, as a Jewish American, I stand with the Muslim community. And I said that because when they come for the Muslim community, they're coming for me. And when they come for me, they're coming for you.
Calling the new policies antithetical to 21st century American values, Stringer adds that the city, which could stand to lose as much as $7 billion, has been energized like never before.
You know, this city is mobilizing. I have to tell you the amount of people who are becoming activists, people who are thinking about how they can make a contribution, the thousands and thousands of people who are turning out at rallies, saying to themselves, I want to get involved, I want to participate, I want to make sure that the children and the immigrants of the city are protected. It has been pretty extraordinary.
As the city's chief financial officer, his duties include rooting out waste and fraud in local government. He also serves as fiduciary for the city's 5 pension funds with nearly $160 billion in assets. He also rallies on behalf of women and minority-owned businesses, having appointed the city's first and only chief diversity officer to oversee the awarding of contracts with the goal of leveling the playing field.
And I believe there should be a chief diversity officer in every city agency, because if we can go from 4.8% to 30% spend, think about how that would just change the lives and communities of so many people.
Following the program, Cruz, who was a panelist before with Comptroller Stringer as a guest, weighed in on his presentation this year.
He definitely really has a lot of mayoral ambitions, and I think when you looked at the line of questioning that us as panelists, but also the audience members were giving him, it seemed to have been in that mold of what would you do if you are the mayor. So I thought that was very interesting.
Another topic addressed was New York City's homeless crisis, with a record 60,000 living in shelters, with 25,000 of them children.
This is where children live, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, babies living in homeless shelters. And we blew the whistle. And after we blew the whistle, the city they acted. The mayor came in, the governor came in, and we got some real results cleaning up the shelters.
He also addressed Obamacare, saying that if repealed, it would put a hit on many of the most vulnerable. And this is what he had to say about the recent tragedy at the Administration for Children's Services.
That I think should be said, that's often forgotten in investigation and audits. A lot of the frontline workers at ACS, are heroes, and they do very dangerous work, but they have a lot of success stories. But that doesn't mean that we don't go in, take a look at agency protocols, and demand answers when those protocols are not being followed.
With New York City's immigrant population such an important part of the overall city's economy, Comptroller Stringer shared that he and others are gearing up for some critical challenges ahead when it comes to an administration that has drawn a hard line when it comes to this population. For BronxNet, this is Arlene Makoko.
And Arlene Makoko actually joins us now in studio. And Arlene, thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Darren.
Let's talk a little bit about this now. Obviously, a lot of people have some, concerns, saying, "Listen, this is a lot that's on the table." But particularly when you talk about the immigrant situation, a lot of money possibly lost.
Exactly, and Darren, as I was mentioning a little while ago, this newsmakers forum is attended a lot of the times by the Latin press and the Caribbean American press, African American, but for the first time I saw a large Muslim community also there. Yeah, just a lot of concern. New York City, he shared, stands to lose around $7 billion. There's also $165 million for sanctuary cities around the states, New York included, with the major cities like Boston, LA. So this is something that's of concern. He was there to say that he's standing in solidarity with this community, and if they mess with them, they're messing with him. So it was very much an important message for the first one. Yeah.
Big takeaway from a lot of people. I think David Cruz talked about the Norwood News, really
Yeah.
sounding kind of mayoral.
He's definitely said that. He said the first time that he came to visit, that Scott Stringer came, it was more general. You know, his office really oversees the budgets of, you know, city agencies. So he was able to kind of segue off into some areas and talk about maybe how he would do if he were mayor. So a few jokes here and there, but definitely this is something he's interested in.
Certainly, we'll continue to watch that. Arlene Makoko here with us. Good to have
Thank
you.
you.
On set.
You too,
Alrighty.
Darren. Good
Arlene
to see you.
Makoko.
Okay.
All right, we'll continue to follow that story and much more. But unfortunately, we've come to the end of our show today. I want to thank our guests for joining us, and most of all, you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, catch the recablecast at 5 and 10 p.m. on Cablevision Channel 67. If you have Verizon Fios, get us on 33 or anytime on the World Wide Web at BronxNet.org. I'm Darren Jaime. Been a pleasure coming into your homes. Stay safe, and most of all, keep our channel wide open. Take care.